welcome to What the Hell. Today we're gonna talk about Freeguy, do a little bit of review.
Yeah, and at this point, if you haven't seen it, shame on you. If you haven't seen it, spoiler alert. If you've seen it, great.
I don't know, what did it do in the box? I'm curious what it did.
Oh, see here, box office.
See what it did in the box office. It's one of those things that I was curious about. Everybody likes it. There we go. And, well, it did 182.6 million. So, I guess nowadays it's actually...
Well, right now it's topped over 200 million globally.
Okay.
Because, Disney shifted away from Freeguy because, they're doing Shang-Chi. It opened up today.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna check that out tonight. I'm gonna take the boys to go see that. So that'll be fun.
Oh, yeah. That before we do Freeguy, we are going to do a moment of silence for the 12 Marines that...
13.
It was 13?
13.
Okay. I thought it was like 12 Marines in a Navy.
Yeah, it was a Navy corpsman, but he was attached to a Marine unit, so...
Yeah,
So they're calling it the Afghanistan 13, so...
Okay. Well, I'll take a moment of silence right now. And we're back. Now, you actually wanted to say something about that before we get into the rest of the show and everything. How, even though it was a horrible tragedy, and from what the information that was gathered from it, it was an
ISIS-K suicide bomber.
Suicide bomber.
Yeah. So,
which this whole shit show of the Biden administration, what they did.
Biden can blame whoever he wants, and that's fine. Point of the thing, the fact of the matter is that their blood is on his hands, as well as the blood of the hundreds of Americans. I think that the last count was like 18,000 Americans are still in Afghanistan.
Yeah, and also the people that actually helped us out in Afghanistan too, that are trying to get refugee status over here, which they're dying, their families dying, and yes, right now it's just kind of one of those things that we are beating a dead horse, but it's something that this administration did not do right at all.
No, if you're going to withdraw from a country, and I'm not trying to be some kind of military strategist expert, I'm not trying to be a Middle East policy expert at all, but Winston Churchill said that those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And apparently Joe Biden was a fucking sleep that day when he was learning about the withdrawal from Vietnam. You can give a hard date as to when you're going to be out, but you stick to it.
And you don't tell the fucking bad guys.
You make sure that your allies are being pulled out with you. And I'm not talking about Britain. And to that extent, Britain still has an SAS unit that is an all-volunteer unit. They volunteered to stay. They are still fighting over there.
Yeah.
One SAS unit. So good on them. But...
Dude, even worse, Parliament literally said until Biden's out of office, they're not going to have any kind of dealings with us.
Yeah.
How shitty do you have to be to the point to where a whole country that's been our allies since, they've been our ally for longer than World War I, but they've been our ally for a long, long time now. And they're saying, hey, this administration sucks. We're not dealing with y'all.
Yeah, since for the first time since the beginning of the 20th century, Britain has said, if you do any more military actions, we will not help you.
Yeah.
So the blood of those American servicemen or service members, that is on Joe Biden's hands. Not that he's going to remember it, because he can't remember where he is half the time. But the Democrats have gone out of their way. They have played the long game to make America look like a laughing joke in the eyes of the world community. And they have, and in that sense, they've succeeded. But come election time, expect Joe Biden to join the ranks of the few presidents who only served one term because they got voted out of office.
Exactly.
Because the amount of Afghanistan veterans alone, not to mention the Patriots, not to mention other veterans from every other era, to include the Vietnam era veterans, absolutely despise what this president and his administration is doing to our country, doing to our military, and doing to our standing in the world, on the world stage. Our president, the commander-in-chief, I heard it said, he shouldn't be impeached, because that's just basically a political slap on the wrist. A British general or British officer was on Fox with Mark Levin, and he said, I believe that he should be court-martialed.
Yeah, I can see that.
He should be court-martialed. He's the commander-in-chief of the United States Armed Forces. He let us down. He let our country down. He embarrassed us. He is guilty of dereliction of duty, and he is an incompetent leader on a good day.
This is true.
He's a dangerous, dementia-ridden, I don't even want to call him a sociopath, because sociopaths have a degree of intelligence. They know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
He's just a buffoon. An absolute moron. The most popular, quote-unquote, popular president in American history.
Oh, he dropped out. He's gone to like the 30%
woefully.
Yeah.
He is woefully underqualified. He's woefully underqualified to be a babysitter, let alone president of the most powerful country on the face of the earth. And he's going to, and if things go the way that they are trending, and if any of the conspiracy theorists are correct, it's not going to be pretty. But the sacrifice that those service members made, they went into a bad situation knowing that it was a bad situation, but they went anyway. Yeah, granted, they were under orders, but they went. And they served with distinction. They did not only the United States of America proud, but they did the United States Marine Corps proud. And you know me, I'm an Army guy, so I mean, I'm constantly go Army, beat Navy. But those are brothers and sisters that laid it down. They paid the ultimate sacrifice to ensure that people that they don't know from a day, from Adam, they laid it on the line, and they paid that ultimate price to ensure that other people could live freely. And it's unfortunate that they had to be put in a position to where they became the victim of a suicide bomber. But the Biden administration let everybody on every level that had anything to do with Afghanistan down. That is all I've got to say about it, because otherwise I'm going to go off for like 30, 40 minutes, and we don't have that kind of time right now. and it's not that kind of a show.
Yeah. We just wanted to do that real quick just to give our condolences for those men and women that actually fell that week. And this is a little bit late in doing it, but like a lot of other people that do podcasts and everything, we have other jobs and everything like that we do, and sometimes it's hard. I mean, we missed last week because we were just super busy.
Yeah, I mean, and one last thing, I did find that it was kind of nice. Normally, whenever people think about the NFL doesn't give a shit about anybody but the NFL and the liberal hate groups that spring up around it, right? When I went to the Dallas Cowboys, their last preseason game last weekend, they had a moment of silence before the national anthem, and during the national anthem, not a single player knelt on either sideline. That impressed me.
Anyway, so Freeguy. This is a comedy that ended up. It's basically one of those comedies to where it reminded. It was Ready Player One, but they revamped it.
It was a love letter to video gamers.
It was. What's really sad is Ready Player One was the same thing.
Yeah, the thing with Ready Player One, though, that I found is that
it wasn't as funny as Freeguy because you got Ryan Reynolds.
I mean, Ready Player One relied heavily on the nostalgia factor. They didn't write a lot of comedy into it because if you're going to write a love letter to nerds and gamers, you have to bring a piece of their culture, a piece of their lifestyle. You even have to kind of just sort of bring, just pull the curtains back a little bit and let people see this is how gamers behave online.
Well, you had it in the book, but you didn't have it in the movie.
Yeah, and I think it's just because Steven Spielberg really missed the mark on that one. He really did.
No, actually, I don't think he missed the mark. I think what it was the basic fact. It's like Freeguy had leveling. Guy actually leveled up,
Yes,
and you saw the mistakes. You saw in the book you had that.
Yeah.
But the movie Ready Player One, you didn't have that only because you didn't see in the book he actually failed and he had to level back up.
Yeah.
Because in Ready Player One, they had it to where whenever you die, you go back to square one. In the movie, it was kind of like that. You just lose all your stuff, but they didn't get the factor of you go down to level 1 and you have to beat up. And it's basically a different story. One has more comedy in it, which Freeguy does have a lot of comedy, and it still has a lot of Easter eggs that it's obvious to a lot of people.
Like
the
obvious.
Captain America shield.
Yes,
and Chris
Evans. Literally, when he was scrolling through his defense, right, with the glasses, and you saw the star, and then you see dude's fist come in, you hear that boom, and then you hear the Avengers music. My boys and I literally cheered in the theater.
I did too. I was by myself and I cheered.
Yeah, I mean, it was just so cool because then you see Chris Evans, he's drinking coffee, watching this stream. He's like, "What the shit?"
Yeah.
And then he comes up with that Hulk fist, But it was just Alvin Silvestri, when he wrote that music for that score for the Avengers. I mean, that is a timeless piece. And I mean, obviously, because now Disney owns 20th Century Fox, they can use it freely, but it was just that dun 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 dun, and just everybody goes absolutely apeshit, right? Because like the last time that we really got to hear that was,
it was Portals.
It was the Portal scene in Endgame. Yeah,
no, that's what the song's called.
Yeah.
Portals.
Well, no, I'm just talking about the Avengers theme. Because, I mean, yeah, you hear part of the Avengers theme written into the piece called Portals when the battle starts, right? But just that few notes, it's just so, like, it gives people goosebumps. It gets people amped up because they're like, yeah, now it's fixing to be on. But just the way that Ryan Reynolds handled that whole thing, the only thing that I think that movie was missing was a cameo by Deadpool. That would have put it over the top.
Well, they did it more in the trailers.
Yeah, and Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds dressed up as Deadpool, and he was sitting there with Korg, and he did that Honest Trailers kind of a thing, and that was Deadpool's introduction into the MCU. He kind of snuck his way in through the back door, but I didn't really notice a whole lot of fourth wall breaks in that movie. In Freeguy, there was no fourth wall breaks in that movie.
There was.
Was there?
Yeah. No, wait.
There wasn't. Because at no point did he look at the camera.
No. Okay. Yeah. They had the. No. Fourth wall break is actually
when the character addresses the audience. Because Deadpool was, he's notorious for that. It's almost like he's synonymous with it now.
There's a subtle fourth wall break that a lot of people don't know about, and I believe there was one, but I'm not. I would have to watch it again. I should.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching again, especially in the theater. But they had the portal guns from Portal.
Yeah.
They had a Half-Life weapon in there, or Half-Life 2. When he grabbed him with that anti-gravity gun and just kind of...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was from Half-Life 2. And then, obviously, the unicorn pogo stick was from Fortnite, because that's one of the...
Weapons.
One of the weapons that
actually, it's not a weapon, it's
an axe, yeah. It's a skin for an axe that they use to, like, harvest building materials or whatever, but...
Yeah. But another thing in this movie they did that they shined on is a lot of the Twitch gamers.
Twitch gamers, YouTube streamers. Just the whole thing was just so well done.
It really is acknowledging those types of entertainment that we've come to fill for our life now, and a lot of people don't get it. Well, I don't watch people playing video games because what ends up happening is I'll watch a video game and I'm like, oh, I want to play video games now.
Yeah, there was just an absolute, and here's the big word of the day, plethora of Easter eggs in that movie. There was, but you know what I loved about the fact though is that Ryan Reynolds almost single-handedly kept the interest in this movie alive himself, because this movie was supposed to come out last year.
Yeah.
But
catchphrase.
Catchphrase. But
I didn't have a chance to say to write a catchphrase, but isn't catchphrase a catchphrase?
Obviously you had the Avengers, Easter eggs in there.
Star Wars with the lightsaber.
Yeah, Star Wars with the lightsaber.
Yeah. I was like,
yes. You saw him. He pulls it out from behind himself, and he just kind of holds it down, and I'm like, oh, here it comes, and you hear that sound, that, and everybody was like, what the shit? They're like, is that? Oh, that's a lightsaber, my man.
Lightsaber?
I said lightsaber. Lightsaber. Shut up. Anyways,
I can review that.
You can.
I'll review it.
Go for it. Knock yourself out. Text me later. I don't care. Just if I don't answer, I'm in the movie. I'm in a movie, so just go away.
You're watching a movie. How about that?
I'm watching a movie. Shut up. Anyways, yeah. So the Rainbow Smash pickaxe from Fortnite, Channing Tatum being in there.
Oh yeah,
that was freaking hilarious.
And then the
he was doing all the Fortnite dances.
Well, not even that. What was really funny was the guy that was controlling his character, and I look at him and was like, "Ma, quit it! I gotta go do this."
Yes. There was even a small little nod to The Shining. It's toward the end of the film when Antoine, the creator of Free City, he tried to destroy all the games, and he was smashing all the servers with the axe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. So there was that. The Groundhog Easter egg, Groundhog Day.
Oh yeah.
With Bill Murray, when he kept waking up, and he's like, "Hello, Goldie." You know? So I mean, there's that. And even Colin, my 12-year-old, he commented on a lot of the scenes. He was like, "Grand Theft Auto much?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm getting that kind of a vibe there."
Well, if you looked at the game itself.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you get to drive around town in all these nice cars. You get to speed. You get to rob, fight, kill NPCs. And obviously the portal guns. Pac-Man. There was a hidden reference.
They did something for Cyberpunk 2027 too.
Yeah, but there was a hidden reference to Pac-Man. Because in Keyes' apartment, there was a hologram that can be seen in there. So, but let me see here. Truman Show had an Easter egg in there. Because I mean, really, you got that whole feel. Everybody in the world is now watching it.
Yeah. And
everybody's cheering for Guy, just like everybody in the world was watching the Truman Show, and they were watching him evolve, and eventually they were watching him, you know, they were cheering for him to get out of the game, just like everybody at the end of the Truman Show was rooting for him to get out of the Burbank studio, right? Mm-hmm. Remember that? There was an elf Easter egg. Ryan Reynolds even to himself described Freeguy as what would happen if you dropped elf in Grand Theft Auto.
Okay.
So, let me see here. I mean, there's just so many Easter eggs.
Someone just sent me this. Sorry, I got it. I had a killer time at the Jim Jones Kool-Aid Fest.
Oh, wow.
Little fun fact, though. He didn't use Kool-Aid. Did I ever tell you this?
What was it, Tang or something like that?
No, it wasn't even Tang. It was like the store-bought.
Oh, the Flavor-Aid.
The Flavor-Aid or whatever it was. he didn't even like his... He was going to kill him, and he didn't even give him the good shit. It wasn't even Kool-Aid. Everybody's... Well...
You wonder if he put sugar in there at least.
He's an asshole. He killed everybody, so I'm expecting he didn't use sugar.
Yeah.
But anyways.
But what's funny, though, is that Free Guy actually beat out the Suicide Squad on opening weekend.
Really?
Yeah. And Free Guy has already it's already outperformed Black Widow. So you remember that they said with that whole debacle that Black Widow had with like Scarlett Johansson, she got screwed out of a ton of money.
Well, Black Widow, I didn't like it all too much.
I look at Black Widow as more of not necessarily a pivotal part of the story of the MCU, but it was more of a setup. Like it was, hey, here we're going to give you backstory to some more of these Disney Plus series, leading into.
I like the what if with the what if the Avengers didn't exist.
Yeah, last week's episode.
That storyline with Black Widow and everything was 100 times better than the movie.
Yeah, I mean the biggest takeaway from the Black Widow movie was the end credit scene when they set up the Hawkeye series.
Yeah, it's getting to the point. That's one thing that's getting to the point to where Marvel movies are literally just setting up the next movie.
Yeah,
and you can see it.
But like I told you off camera, I'm going to go see Shang-Chi tonight. I'm going to take the boys to go see it because I mean it's a Marvel movie. It's opening night. I mean we don't get the chance to do that very often. So there has been so. I mean, Shang-Chi really was one of the. I mean, it's one of those Phase 4 movies that really kind of flew under the radar for the longest time. Because, I mean, Kevin Feige, he didn't even talk about it until like 2 years ago, pre-COVID, at the San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
and then it just kind of dropped off the radar. Like nobody talked about it. So I'm really looking forward to, because I think that this is going to be one of those springboards where they're really, because I think the next one that comes out after this is going to be Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, because it comes out
in December.
Which I love the trailer for that had Doc Ock.
Yes.
Spider-Man
He's like,
2.
hello, Peter. And I'm like, oh, yeah, because Arthur Molina, dude.
He was great.
He was a great Doc Ock. The fact that he's able to, he's still around and he's able to do that.
Well, what I really like about it was, there's two things. He was able to play a respectable scientist, and then he went a little bit. It was kind of cartoonish, sort of, but it didn't seem cartoonish.
It was Sam Raimi, so yeah.
It didn't seem cartoonish coming from him. It was like, because he also did the voice of the devil in Needful Things for Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
I mean, it was believable. It was I don't know what it is about that actor, but he can make any role his.
Yeah, he's kind of like, well, before he died, Christopher Plummer. I mean, the guy absolutely could act. But yeah, it's I think Shang-Chi is gonna be a pretty good movie. Because they're gonna use that to lead into not only Spider-Man, but they're gonna lead into Eternals, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
So I really hope that they took their time with the multiverse, because I really as much as I love Marvel, I know that they're owned by Disney, and Disney has just been notorious for jacking up some of our most favorite franchises. I mean, look what they did with Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I don't want Phase 4 of the MCU to turn out to be a big cinematic version of Flashpoint, where it just got so convoluted and that people just lost interest. Where they just said, oh well, our ratings are dropping, so let's wrap this up as hastily as possible, and then it's just lazy writing.
Yeah.
But with Marvel being Marvel, the way that they've done their MCU, it for whatever reason, I mean, it just seems to be like, the Pied Piper. I mean, most of what Marvel throws out there sticks. And now, because like a few years ago, Kevin Feige came out and he said that like the Netflix series like Daredevil, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, The Defenders, The Punisher, that they were non-canon, right? That they didn't belong in the MCU. And he said the same thing about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But if you remember watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it followed the events of the MCU.
They even had Nick Fury on the first season.
Yeah. And he came out and he was like, oh, well, now that the multiverse is there, there's no reason to say that it couldn't be a part of the MCU. And it's like, please don't do that. Please don't be that guy.
Well, okay.
I mean, to me personally, I loved the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I loved it. I mean, because Clark Gregg as Agent Coulson, I mean, absolutely, hands down, that is his character from now to, perpetuity.
Yeah, and another thing is when they put that storyline together and everything like that, I mean, how can it not be canon if... And I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay? I just like the storylines and everything. But the fact of you kept the storyline that he died on a S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier and he got the Avengers together, and now he's miraculously alive, and they made a whole storyline about that, and it's like, oh no, it's not canon. I'm like,
yeah, I mean, they even had Lady Schiff come in and during an episode, and she was like, "Son of Cole," right? And
yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, one favor, don't tell the big guy that I'm alive. He might not take it too well," And she goes, "I will not say anything to Odin's son," And it's like,
yeah, I'm like, really, just if you fail, you own it.
Yeah, but I don't want I mean, I'm really afraid that Kevin Feige is going to get that ego that can't fit through the door anymore, and he's going to somehow Disney is going to find a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can joke about Disney being like the one monopoly, the one ring to rule all rings, and they're going to be the ones that own the world and eventually the galaxy after a certain point, many, many, many millennia down the road.
Well, it's not Marvel, that's Disney and period.
Oh, I know, just Disney, but
yeah.
There's those memes going around now because Sony leaked that trailer for Spider-Man.
No, technically they didn't leak the trailer.
Technically.
No, I mean, legitimately, technically, they did not leak the trailer. What happened was, remember when you said, "Oh, I just saw the new Spider-Man trailer like on Monday," and
yes, and then you piss all over my Wheaties. You're like, "I saw that shit on Saturday."
Well, someone leaked it from when they went to CinemaCon.
Yeah, but
but
then Marvel ended up having to scramble, so they released the official teaser. Okay, in high definition for everybody to watch, right?
Yeah.
And then so Sony, because they still own the rights to Spider-Man, because you know how they keep going back and forth, and initially, for a while there, they were like, oh, we're going to be able to sit there and break bread together over this character. Now Sony's wanting more money. They're wanting Disney to put up more money for the productions of the movie, but Sony's wanting more of the take home. But Sony, the only reason Sony has not gone under is because of the Spider-Verse.
I'd say PlayStation, but
No, not their gaming department. I'm talking about their motion pictures.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, their movie department, the section of their company that produces
movies.
movies.
They're not really putting out that much heavy hitters anymore.
No, they're not. And so now there's those memes going around where Disney's like, you see Mickey Mouse kind of lording over this Sony logo going, I'm not going to fight with you. I'm just going to buy you. I'm just sitting there going, well, that would make sense. That's one way to get your character back.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, that's what they did with Fox.
Yeah, I mean that's how they got all of those Marvel properties back. And
here lately Disney's been buying up stuff like crazy.
Yeah, and I think especially because they're doing it in the direction of Marvel is probably the biggest cash cow that Disney has going for it right now. In addition to their Star Wars stuff, but Marvel is eclipsing that.
Well, what happened, and the reason why, and nobody really kept up with this except for people that are like die hard with stupid shit.
Yeah.
I mean, what was happening?
See, you owned it. There you go.
Yeah. What was happening back in the early 2000s? Is Disney wanted to get away from just being girly, because that's all they were known for, was like the Disney princesses,
the Disney princesses,
anything girly and everything like that. So they started buying film properties or IPs for stuff that guys would like, and they kept this up, and Marvel was still kind of hemorrhaging, so they got it. Because a lot of people are like, because of these Marvel movies and everything like that, Marvel's doing good. Like, Blade was the first big hit they ever had. You know how much they got from that? 1%.
Really?
So probably around about 65.
Well, that's right, because Blade was a new line cinema production.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
It was at Marvel Studios. And then, even their biggest hits was the Spider-Man movies. Well, it was X-Men, then Spider-Man. Well, the X-Men movies.
That was Fox.
Yeah, they made, from the billions that people shelled out for them, they only made like $65 million. And same thing with Spider-Man. Spider-Man was the biggest one.
Well, Spider-Man per capita is the highest grossing Marvel character of all time.
Yeah, $4 billion.
Yeah, and that's annually.
Yeah. And what had happened is they were only getting they were still just getting 1%. Marvel, that's one a lot of people don't understand how Disney was able to easily buy Marvel, and it wasn't because it was hard. It was actually quite easy. It's just they weren't making that much money off of the movies.
Yeah.
And
cue Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man.
Yeah. Literally the B team.
Yeah.
The B team actually started making money and starting escalating everything like that, and then they started the Avengers. They made everything continuity to where everything flowed. Each movie's connected to each movie.
Yeah.
Which during that time, unless it was like a sequel, it wasn't a sequel because it was a different character genre.
Yeah.
That's what kicked it off and made it a little bit better for them. I mean, they're technically making sequels, just with different characters, as long as they connect it.
Yeah, because remember during Phase 1 and Phase 2, that tagline was "It's all connected," and and people were just like, they were, because when the Avengers movie came out and it just blew up at the box office, but the reviews on it just were not that good. And because there was a lot of the they're not necessarily Avengers. It's just a lot of people that argued with each other the whole movie and decided to fight together at the end.
Well, that's okay.
And that's the whole point.
That's team ups.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Marvel team ups, and that's actual any kind of team up in comics. They fight first, and then even Ryan Reynolds made a freaking joke in Deadpool about it. I was like, are we going to have to fight first, or we have to do are we just going to team up? And he's like, no, we got to fight first. Okay.
Yeah.
But
I mean, and I'm glad, I'm really, really glad that Marvel got away from that paradigm, from that dynamic, because now we've got this established team. Okay, even though the core nucleus of the original Avengers, they're kind of aging out, they're retiring. Now I'm not talking about the actors, and more of the characters that are writing the characters out. But they're doing it in a way that doesn't feel like it's DC-esque, where it just kind of feels ragged. They gave Tony Stark the most absolute perfect send-off.
Yeah. I can't say they gave Captain America a good send-off.
They didn't, and what I would love to see
after I saw that, and I was like, oh, that was cool, and then I sat home and I was like, wait a minute.
I would love to see them do a movie, even if it's just like a spin-off, like a one-off. Chris Evans comes back to play Captain America one last time, and it shows his journey back through the timelines, replacing the Infinity Stones.
I've already seen the he-she one. I've seen the he-she one, and I think it's comic humor.
Mm-hmm.
Comic humor, or college humor. College humor is freaking awesome.
Yeah, I'll have to look that one up then. But
the he-she one, him putting the Infinity Stones, freaking hilarious. Because he's like, he had to go back to the beginning with Hulk and everything like that. He was like, okay, how do I do this? How do I do this? Like that scene to where he had to put the what was it? The Power Stone.
Yeah.
Back, and they had that force field.
Yeah.
He was like, ow, ow. How do I do this?
I forgot where my brain was going to go with that, but
Freeguy.
Yeah, Freeguy. It just the only thing, okay, like at the end when they're on the island from the original game code, and everybody just now, they're not killing the NPCs, they're playing with the NPCs.
Well, actually, the whole thing, that whole AI game was it was basically the game plays itself and you watch it. That was the whole premise of it.
Yeah. It had a feel-good kind of an end to it. Like whenever his buddy, the guard, security guard, I forget the guy's name. Buddy, thank you. They're running across the bridge, and he fades out, and you saw the security guards in that tower, right? And they're like, that security guard was a goddamn hero. I'm sitting there going, oh yeah, now they're going to get the security guards to rise up against him, you know?
Yeah.
But
no, the one thing I did like about it, and it was like splashed upon on there, was the love story.
Yeah. Now, we're talking about both of the love stories, the one in game and the one in the real, in real life.
No, because the one in the game was the same as the one on the real world. Because
yeah,
he modeled
because
Freeguy,
he modeled he modeled Guy after her likes and dislikes.
Yeah.
And I love, and even my 12-year-old got this little reference, that line where she goes, he kissed me, and dude turns around and he's like, there's no button for that. She goes, oh, he found the button. I started laughing, and Colin looks over at me and he goes, bro. And I was like, yeah. So, to me, as a dad of a 12-year-old, I have to remember that I knew all the dirty stuff back then, but it's just a weird dynamic for me.
It's even worse for my daughter, because my daughter, she does what I do. She tries to top it. And you know how if you leave that door open for me, I end up like going like over the top and busting down the door.
Yeah, see, my daughter, she tries, bless her heart, she tries to do that same thing. So yeah.
No, there's things I won't even tell anybody else that I was like, oh my god, I made that joke, and now my daughter's making that joke, and me hearing it is feeling very inappropriate right now. Don't ever do that again. It's like, how's that wrong? Because I'm the one that's saying it. It's wrong. It's
not only are you wrong, but you're out of line. Yeah. But it's like, because as a parent, we've got to figure out where that line is, so we can teach our kids time and place means everything.
Well, she knows time and place, because she even tells me, as like, I'm much more freer around you than I am with my mother, because I have to like.
Yeah, and my boys are the same way, and.
Do I let my daughter get away with stuff that she shouldn't have? In my thinking, I'm saying to myself, yeah, I let her get away with a lot of stuff that she shouldn't have. Then I think of it as like, I did just tell her, like, hey, don't say this all the time. It's like, I know, Dad. I was like, I'm just letting you know. I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm just telling you that.
It's like Colin with his. That's what she said all the time.
You opened that.
I did. I opened that can of worms. I will own that one. And now, my girlfriend does not help at all, because she says it too, and then they gang up on me, and I'm like,
Well, look at what my dad did when we were eating up at a Parkway Grill.
Yeah, this is true.
Well, okay. I was talking about I have a funny bone, but I don't use it all the time. What did my dad say? God.
I think it was something along the lines of, well, you weren't very good at it anyway, or something like that.
Yeah.
I absolutely died right there.
You should have seen his face. It was like someone give it. I was like,
he just smiled, and that mustache of his went woof straight up. I was just like, damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Of course, we talked about how I embarrassed him the one time.
Yeah.
At Opa's, where I was like, man, that sausage left a bad taste in my mouth. And I was like, well, Dad, go in the bathroom and wash it out like any kind of lady of the night.
Well, and see,
I did that
when he embarrassed you at the table, you were like, I'll get it today.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting going like that.
Okay, I don't know if I told anybody on the show, but there's a running thing with me and my dad to where what we used to do was, I've said this again, I'll do it again, that if we embarrass each other, we'll pay for the meal. The person that got embarrassed has to pay for the meal. Well, I got embarrassed that day.
Yeah.
Now, I should have laughed, but I don't know why I was embarrassed.
I think it was because it was both Mindy and Misty were there at the table.
Yeah, but that doesn't really count because I say stupid shit all the fucking time in front.
I know, but it's coming from your dad, and like really, that was the first time that your dad had been to anything that we've done publicly.
Oh yeah, okay.
So I mean,
yeah. God. But anyways, next episode we were gonna make this one a double, but because of time restraints, and next week we have plenty of time to actually do it. We're going to do the conspiracy theory one.
Yes, we're going to touch on conspiracies.
Conspiracy theories, not conspiracies.
Not conspiracies, but conspiracy theories.
Because
and no, for those of you hoping, we are not going to talk about the moon landings that actually happened. Good God, get it? Just let it go.
What was it? Buzz Aldrin?
Yeah, Buzz Aldrin? Yeah.
Aldrin. He literally almost punched the shit out of
him. No, he did.
Did?
He laid that dude out. And the police officers looked at him and they were like, you shouldn't run your fucking mouth. Because it was in New York City, and the NYPD officers that were just standing there, they were like,
yeah,
don't fucking run your mouth to an American icon.
Yeah.
Shit won't happen. Don't want none, don't start none.
Yeah, we're not going to help you out.
Right? I mean, this dude was just like, because I mean, he was getting out of his car, and this guy was like, hey, Buzz, you gonna ever admit to the fact that the moon landings were faked? And Buzz just broke stride, walked clean over, and knocked that dude square in the jaw. I'm just sitting there going, yeah.
Yeah, it is. I was like, that just happened. That just happened.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I wanted to stand over that dude like Smokey did in Friday, like, fool, you got knocked the fuck out.
Well, thank you for watching. This is What the Hell, Free Guy-ish.
Labor Day edition.
No.
Or Labor Day weekend edition.
Yeah, because we're still going to do the... Yeah.
Don't have a good Labor Day weekend. Have a great Labor Day weekend.
And thank you for watching. Just remember, Apple, Spotify, Facebook, YouTube,
Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe, like... give the bell notification of the little buzz there. And leave comments.
And to our super fan, thank you for all the comments. She did like 9 of them on the last episode of Nerd Sports.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't see them for some reason.
Yeah. Okay. What you have to do? Well, I'll tell you after the show. But anyways, we're done here. Love you guys. Bye.
Later.